I feel kind of crippled, unable to escape my own head, um, my own feelings of inadequacy. Been talking to my psychologist a lot about how these things manifest, these feelings of not just worrying that the thing you're doing isn't good enough, or that it will face criticism and it will mean something negative about you. And recently I've been tackling that issue a lot. I've been trying to sit inside myself and undo these patterns. And it leaves me feeling unable to express myself outwardly, like artistically, I guess. It leaves me feeling like I'm not really able to easily write jokes or publish things because it makes me feel like in order to post something to social media, in order to do something that's valuable to others, make a YouTube video or whatever, you have to be in a place where you're okay. You have to be in a place where people want to hear from you because you seem like you're fine, And a lot of people's first instinct would be to say, well, that's not true. You don't have to be okay to start living. But it is kind of true. You have to be you have to be presentable to present yourself. Or, it's not exactly true. In fact, it's kind of important to present yourself when you're not presentable, because it lets people know that people go through this. But it's harder to do that through like artistic means other than like painting, and maybe, I don't know, I guess it's specifically hard for me because of always feeling like I need to justify what I'm saying. Like somebody out there is going to think I'm wrong. Somebody out there is going to be thinking, yeah, make all the excuses you want, but there's two sides to every story, and it sounds like you're just stupid or whatever. And I'm not saying this to quell that fear of somebody thinking I'm wrong, or just bad at handling the world, so to speak. I'm saying this because it might provide an example for someone to look at and think, oh, that kind of sounds like what I went through, or what I am going through. If you're raised in a household where your parents are constantly fighting, yelling at each other, getting into screaming matches all the time, and if one or both of your parents have a hair-trigger temper, and you're not entirely sure what sets them off or why, you start to get the feeling like you don't understand people. You start to think like, what's wrong with me that I don't get this? Like I can't figure out what's wrong here, but clearly something is. And it starts to make you think a lot about your own decisions, especially if the fights a lot of the time are about you. If one parent is very controlling and the other parent is very eager to defend you and say, he's just a kid, leave him alone, you don't need to tell him what to do, like, stop yelling at him, If that happens all the time, of course you're going to feel like you're wrong. Of course you're going to feel like uh, there's something about you that you don't understand, and that, even if the parent who defends you does a really good job of defending you and making you understand, oh, no, 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 like, your father's crazy, like, don't worry about him, he's insane, you just ignore him. It's still gonna fuck with you. Like, you're gonna start overthinking everything you do, and whether or not it's wrong or stupid, or what if he's right, like, it's going to call into question every decision you make, no matter how many times you can be reassured, no, 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 he's crazy. Yeah, but he's the person I come home to every day. He's crazy, but, exposure is going to leave me feeling like that doesn't matter. And if the argument is always about something you're doing, it makes every decision an argument, even in times when you're not actually doing anything that has anything to do with them or the people in your life that maybe resemble them, not necessarily your parents, but unfortunately, if your parents are like that, you're more likely to make friends with people who treat you like that too, because you don't have that inherent understanding that that's fucked up, and stay away from me, you judgmental asshole. You just don't need that kind of stress in your life. But if your parents are a source of that stress, you're not going to be set up to think, well, then I should make friends that aren't like that. Or more accurately, it's like, it's going to be harder for you to notice when your friends are like that, and find issue with it. But anyway, if everything is an argument to be won, there's always a winner of the argument and a loser. And it kind of turns every decision you make into an argument in your head. And it's like, you don't get the option of freedom of choice anymore. You can either do what you're told, or you can either do what you think people will like, or you can feel like an asshole. Because a lot of times it feels like an argument is either being lost or won. Specifically with parents, as an example, if your parents are always telling you what to do, you don't get to choose what you do anymore. You get to choose between rebelling against what they're telling you to do or doing what they tell you to do. It's no longer, you're not given that space to think about what you actually want anymore. You're only given the space to think, do I agree with them? And if the answer is no, then you have to make your decision. And some parents are really good at guilting you for winning that argument and saying things like, how could you do this to us? You know how worried we are, and we just want what's best for you. Why don't you listen? Why don't you But, like, yeah, it leaves no room to breathe. It leaves no room to actually give thought to why you're doing what you're doing. It makes you feel stupid, and the way to fight that is to seem not stupid, to seem like you know what you're doing. But it also, in trying to seem like you know what you're doing, you don't get the opportunity to learn what you're doing, because any failure is used against you. Anytime you fuck something up, they're quick to jump on you and say, see, that's why we fucking said you shouldn't do that. And now you're sitting there like a puppy dog with your tail betwixt your legs, going, oh, fuck, more ammunition for them to tell me I'm an idiot, Yeah. That's an abrupt ending.